They just want you to sit in your chair and go hip hip hooray for the Western press and the Western narrative, regurgitating the same old every single day without exception. Please watch the first 2 episodes, the second series. Look at that.
Absolutely fascinating.
And it was the first time the Beatles had really stopped being semi-professional almost.
Good evening, everyone. Yeah, do you know when you get these? You go right and you go wrong, if you know what I mean. And it's just like one of those days. I haven't been sleeping, I'm being honest. I'm suffering from some kind of insomnia. Now, yesterday, I hadn't slept from the day before. And I'm talking from 8 o'clock in the morning, Wednesday morning, and I went right through. Didn't sleep. And when I did the show last night, people were actually saying, you look tired. And I was absolutely drained. So when I finished the show, I just went in, I made myself a cup of tea, and fell asleep. But I only slept for 10 minutes. And I drank my tea, and then I was okay. I wasn't at all tired. And then I went to bed at 12:30. 12:30. And I was still awake at 10 o'clock this morning. So I just couldn't. And that's what I'm doing. I just can't sleep. And then I went to sleep. Finally, it must have been around 11:30 or something. And woke up at 1:30, so I've had 2 hours sleep. And what? 36 hours, 48 hours. More, is it? 52 hours. It's beginning to worry me, actually. Really is beginning to worry me. And the fella who was supposed to come on tonight, I asked, can't make it, unfortunately. So that's the other thing. That's the other thing. But anyway, we'll have a show one way or the other. Listen, I'm going to ask you a question. And I just need a straight answer. Does Donald Trump, the President of the United States, does he deserve a Nobel Peace Prize? Would you give him a Nobel Peace Prize? Simple as that. Just say yes or no, and then we can discuss whatever you say. And you can obviously say that. Please, thank you. We get a big essay. Well, he's good, Simon. Hi, Frank. I've been doing a bit of reading on the paranormal, although a skeptic Was it? Being you skeptical. Anyway, I am looking forward to hearing what your guest has to say. See, I've got a paranormal fella on the 5th. I know him, he's a friend of mine, but he's away on holiday. I don't know whether he's ghost hunting, you know. I really don't. He doesn't go on holidays as such. He goes ghost hunting all over the place. Goes to Europe and everything. So hearing about what your guests say about the personal experience. He says that's like me. I've had a couple of them, which I'll tell you about them a little bit later on. I would be interested to hear why certain parts of the country seem to have notable higher levels of paranormal activity. Paranormal activity, whether linked to historical people or phenomenons. I know for a fact I used to lecture in about Roman Britain, for example, as well. You know, the Roman Empire, what they were doing here with the AD 43, 42, 43, Claudian invasion. And there's a pub in Kent, and it's an old inn. But people have actually seen these paranormal people have experienced it. And in the cellars of this inn, you see a Roman legion walking past. And lots of paranormal people, even ordinary people. And through the years, you know, when you've gone down into the basement to get the beer or whatever to get that down there, and they see these things. Roman legion. A few I came across, Plucky Village, Kent, in the Guinness Book of Records as England's most haunted village. Pendle. I wonder if that's the place, Kent. Anyway, Pendle, linked with witch trials, yes, of course. The Asian Brahmin, most haunted house in the UK. Not according to this fella. He was, you know, I wanted to come on tonight because he sits there, him and his wife, and books fly off the shelving. Doors open by themselves. Footsteps. Whether, you know, a spirit can have footsteps. But I always remember my grandmother and where she lived with her husband, you know, when they got lodgings when they came over. They lived in a big, like five-story home with a basement, and what she used to call the garret, which was the loft. And there was an old sailor who had a peg leg, and he lived there as well in the garret. And every night they used to hear him coming in, and the peg leg going, you know, along the hallway, then up the stairs, right up to the top, the peg leg. Anyway, he died, this old sailor. And every night, the peg leg was hit. But my grandmother was, I think she was one of these people who, I remember living there one time in a home, and she said to me, I know it sounds daft like, but she said to me, oh, I heard her talking. I said, you know, in the bedroom. I said, you're okay? She said, yeah, I'm okay. I said, okay. I said, you get in there? She said, oh, I'll tell you later. So I said, okay. I just thought she had a visitor. Anyway, a couple of days later, I said to her, I said, who's that in your bedroom? You're that the other day. And she said, Mary Sugar. I said, who's Mary Sugar? Who's Mary Sugar? Mary Sugar. I've been dead for 60 years. She was a little girl. And why he called her Mary Sugar, back in the day, that, you know, you can imagine, like, you know, like in the 20s or 30s or whatever, little girls, you know, when they were growing up, and they tried to curl the hair, you know, the mothers. But they used to put sugar on their hair to curl, if you know what I mean, so it'll stay in place. And they used to call this little girl Mary Sugar because she always had sugar in her hair to keep her curls in place. And she said, yeah. And I was right next door to her room. A young lad, you know. I said, oh, okay then. Lights on. Go to sleep every night. Then another time, it was the same experience she had. Well, I had. But I was speaking to someone else. And one of my uncles died in France on a holiday, going home. And we got informed, and my grandmother was in bed. My grandmother was in bed, so I went next door to the lady next door, a great lady. And I said, listen, she said, okay. She said, don't worry, we'll go for the priest. So we went along for the priest. Came back with the priest. And he knocked on the door, you know, the bedroom door. And he said, Mrs. Valenti, I'm sorry, I have bad news. And she said, yes, Jerry's dead. I was told. He said, who told you? No one had told her. But someone appeared to her and told her. No one knew. We found out that way with a phone call. This is not that, you know, it's dead bright. Look at me, look. Like a ghost now, right? I'm good at talking, I can't talk. It's not the light, I would turn the light off and just go all funny. Sorry about this. Sorry about going on. Simon. However, other activity, stroke sightings have been linked to historical people. Catherine Howard, stroke James Seymour, with Hampton Court, been to Hampton Court, beautiful. And one of our universities here, Sir Alfred's Waterhouse, the architect, copied the roof. Inside, you know, beautiful. Because when I first went in, I looked, wow, you know, because it was just like being in this particular place. Couldn't believe it. And found out later that, you know, he did copy it. Hampton Court. And we're in Tower of London and Blickingall, York and Chester at Roman legions. Callum, are you Callum? Horrible insomnia, says that. It's shocking. It's upset everything. Honestly. It really is. Really is, Edward. Thank you. Johan, always been missing Johan. We were worried about you. We were wondering where you were. Johan. Good evening, Frank and Legends in the chat. Hope everyone is. Apologies, I wasn't able to join the shows this week. Oh no. Anyway, a pleasure to be back. I hope he's okay now. Your granddad. Hope he's okay. But we were asking about you. Because I said to Anthony on the show, I said, Johan's been missing. Where is he? There's a big up, Frank, and chat, panel and chat. Bella Italia. Buonasera, Franco, and everyone. Hope all is well. Yes. Thank you for joining us, Bella. Mille grazie. Cara mia, Bella. And Simon, Johan, hope he is on the mend. You doing okay? See, that's what I mean about this group. We care about each other. We care. Hey, listen, let me know. Does my the sound, is it okay? Because I actually put last night's show on, and I don't watch myself. So I put it on, my sound was terrible. I'm saying I don't think anyone can understand what I'm saying here. Not that if the sound was okay, it still wouldn't be able to understand what I'm saying sometimes. But can you understand? Is it clear? Because I said to Jason, I put that thing on and the sound's terrible. Christopher. Hi, Frank and everyone. Like and subscribe. Thank you, Christopher. And on the Trump, no. I wouldn't give that guy the stream. And Johan says, he is. Thanks. Hope you've been well. And that's to Simon from Johan. The lovely Tusk. Ciao, Franco. Ciao, everyone. Good to have you back, Johan. Hope your granddad is. Isn't that lovely? Isn't that lovely? Oh, Myra, just seen your name. And Simon says, no, very few people have to be honest who received one. That's about Trump. Oh, Myra. Hiya, Myra. Hi, everyone. Oh, Myra, it's lovely, honestly. Nope. That's for Trump. Hello, Myra, says Edward. That's lovely, that. Oh, look. She's acknowledging. Brilliant. Love it. And Stay, good friend of mine is Stay. And I wouldn't give Trump a Nobel Peace Prize. He has sent warships to Venezuela. I want to talk about that, if you don't mind, Stephen. And has been wanting regime change for a while. For years, I'm telling you now, because I think it was last year. And he was talking about Biden. He said, well, when Biden was in office, he said, if I would have been in office, Venezuela would have collapsed and we would have gone in for all that oil. Because Venezuela, believe it or not, has more oil than Saudi Arabia. Think about that. This is why. This is America. This is America. But we'll discuss that. I give him the nub flash. I take the EL out of it. That's a cracker, lads. Oh, thanks for cheering me up. And Bella says, Johan, sorry to hear your grandfather is unwell. How is he now? Hope he's doing a lot better. Oh, not lovely. See, they're all letting on, they're all. And Johan, Trump obviously doesn't deserve the Nobel Peace Prize, but we're apparently living in the daftest timeline. So it might just happen. Remember Obama got, yes. Yes, also, I was going to mention him. Obama getting one. Obama. So I was going to follow up, but you're all saying no. Let me just go down. Just let me go down a bit, and I'm coming back with another question. You'll answer mine, Christopher. Good evening, legends. Bella, I Tosca. I'm mine. I'll just go down to what you just saying. Simon, Leo Tolstoy deserved the Nobel Peace Prize, but was snubbed as not worthy for the Peace Prize. Disgrace. Yeah. I'm trying to think if he said this quote, and I love Tolstoy. And I'm just wondering if he said it. You might say yes or no, or tell me who actually said it. Or was it Dostoevsky? I don't know whether it was Tolstoy or Dostoevsky who said, history would be a wonderful thing if it would be true. Think about that. And Simon, all violence consists in some people facing others under threat of suffering or death to do what they do not want to do. Isn't it like going on today? Isn't that just like what's going on today? With Zelensky sends it. Their papers now, their press, Ukraine press, have come out and said that 1.7 million soldiers have been killed, dead. 1.7 million. And remember the last talks they had, and they said about exchanging prisoners. Or no, not prisoners, I'm sorry, the dead. And they said no, because the Russians have lots of dead. They're all, you can imagine. And they just want to send them back for a proper burial, a military burial to Ukraine. And Zelensky won't allow it because he's got none to give back. and prisoners of war, exchange 1,000 prisoners of war. And he said no. Zelensky said no, by the way. Toscana, are you near York? And he says, lots of paranormal activity up that way. I gave last year, I think it was, I gave a talk at York University. They sent for me. And Francine drove me over there. And I was with me, I think I've said this. And I was with my granddaughter. She wanted to come along, Sophia. Now, a few weeks before, I said to Sophia, I said, do you want to go to university when you're there? She said, no. I said, why? I said, be like your brothers and your mum and me, your granddad. She said, no. So when she went along, these girls, these undergraduates, all girls, just took her under their wings, honestly. And they were made a little fuss of her. She was sitting in the middle of them, in the audience where I was giving this talk. And on the way home, I said, did you like that? She said, yeah. She said, and I want to go to York University. I said, I thought you didn't want to go. She went, no, I like it now, but I want to go to York. And she even said it yesterday. I want to go to York University. And they had the guests here. So it inspired her. Not my talk, like, but the girls and the university itself, absolutely beautiful place. The university, excellent stuff. Toscana, Simon, unfortunately, no, not. But I do know York well and go often. I've not seen anything unusual myself. The ghost walks, Stoke tours, good. There is a house that they say someone's seen a legion of Romans marching into the cellar. When examined further, it was near a Roman soldier camp. The same in Kent, pub, Kent, the cellar, that is. Simon. Even in Don Franco and fellow Franconians. Says the IBR. Hiya, mate. Because the sound is a bit poor. Thank you, IBR. I know, and I'm worried about it. I really am worried about it, and I don't know how to fix it. Don't know how to do it. Haven't a clue. Haven't a clue. I really haven't. I don't know whether it's this. I've got all these bloody things all over the place. Like sound things. I don't know what I'm fucking doing, to be honest. I hate technology now. I can't get my head around it. Thanks for letting me know, because if that's the case, I won't be doing any more pods. I don't like coming across terrible, I really don't. Everything's got to be good. As I said, I got myself a new camera, but I just don't know what's happened to the sound. So until it's fixed, I won't do any more. The sound is a bit off, says Johan. Oh, for fuck's sake. I can't do anything about it. I really can't. Honestly, I'd have to wait for Jason. I just don't know. The red bird. Bless you, Frank, my man. Hey, red bird. And even Toscana says the sound isn't too clear. And Christopher says, yeah, the sound's better today. Says Christopher. I noticed something yesterday with the sound, says Edward. Even my mate Stay, he says the sound is rather low. Is it? Terrified to touch that. I really am. In case it goes off altogether. I'll have to shout then. I don't like shouting. Hey, Barry, even if Frank and everyone, sounds was distorted a bit last night, but better don't go away, is it? And Simon says, Franco, you need to speak to your doctor or have a word with your pharmacist if there is anything they can give you, even herbal remedies to help you sleep your sleep patterns. We're all worried about you. God, thank you. Thank you. I was supposed to go out tomorrow. It's out of a will with Francine and my granddaughter because she loves the Beatles. She just loves the Beatles. And Francine's taking her down. I said, well, we'll take her Monday. She had Dad, the matches on. Oh, yeah, match. So anyway, I don't think I'll be going tomorrow because if I just imagine me having a beer and I haven't slept for like, say, 24 hours, from like today, right through. Frank, I'll come to you, tell you the bedtime story, you'll be snoring and notes. And Johan to Bella. Apologies, I missed your message. Yes, he is doing much better now. Thank you, Bella. And Bella says, no to Trump. No to Trump, which is good. Which is good. Johan, sorry to hear about your grandfather. Glad to hear he's doing better. Long may it continue. See what I mean, Johan? See what I mean? Toscana says, I don't know who deserves the Nobel Peace Prize. I don't think Obama deserves one either. I've got relatives in the US who always said he was. Of course he was. Of course he was. Thank you for your kind words, legend. Hope you've been well. That's to the red bird. That's to the red bird. Mark says Epstein Black Book will never be shown because Lynn Forrester was on it. Finds who she is now, married to, and you'll understand why. Finds out who she's married to. And says, I'm not so sure who deserves a Nobel Peace. I never understood why Obama got one. My relatives in the US said he was a fraud, and I agree. like Carlyle for the Peace Prize. We all deserve the Peace Prize, and thank you for that. You know, I just big flattered that. But what you've got, see, ordinary people want peace, and it's these brats, Myra, these leading politicians, who are the main cause of wars. The main cause of wars, and a great example is this. Netanyahu, that lovely man, nominated Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize, Now, Trump has been supplying him with weapons, bombs, shells, you name it. Arms, you know, them arms I'm talking about. Besides those bombs, planes, you name it, he's been supplying them. He's been supplying Ukraine with arms. He's been threatening war with Iran. And he sent in to bomb, remember this thing, uranium, to bomb. And now what he's doing with Venezuela, sending warships, threatening Venezuela. He's up to something. And there's Pambondi, who's just put a $50 million bounty on the head of President Maduro. But for the spend was to stop the drug cartels. Isn't there any drug cartels in America, by the way? What are they doing to them? He wants to have a look at Philadelphia. And who's supplying them? I don't think that Venezuelans are coming up and they're saying, yeah, is it? Do you want to buy these to these drug abusers? So that's the spin to get into to steal the oil. Because as I said before, last year he said, pound of being president. Venezuela would have collapsed and we could have gone in and had all that lovely oil. How blatant is that? This is why he's going on a proxy war in Ukraine. A proxy war in Ukraine. Because they thought that Putin would have collapsed. Regime's gone in, put a puppet there. That Navalny, for example, no one who knew. I watched the stream at the time, and they were asking ordinary people, just stopping them in the street saying, do you know where Navalny? He said, no. They were saying, who is he? He said that less 2% knew who Navalny was. Well, they were going to put him in power. Now, his widow, because he's dead now, and he died of natural causes, by the way, and his widow, I don't know whether you're aware of this, is the president in exile of Russia. What would just suppose something had happened and the Americans wanted her to be president. What do you think the Russian people would do? They all know about Navalny, by the way, by now. They all know about him. He was a criminal, by the way. He was a criminal. go on tomorrow. I'll second that. Oh, thank you. Can you imagine me? But that's all what we want is peace. Simon says, you can see what they are doing. Pressure on Ukraine, help Netanyahu in Gaza, pressurising the Lebanese president to start a demilitarisation of militant groups and seeking regime change in Iran. They want regime. Look, I'll ask you a question. From a very young age, I've always said that America wants to police the world. And when I've heard Trump, I thought Trump was going to come in and do it, you know. But there are so many neocons, the likes of that Lindsey Graham, who's like that in his ear, who hates Russia. Do you ever remember him when he said, I think it was to Zelensky or someone, Zelensky, I'm not quite so sure, he said, we're so proud of you because we're going to go along with you to fight till the last Ukrainian. He was talking genocide. That's genocide, though. And he keeps boasting, doesn't he? No Americans have been killed then. Well, let me tell you, they have. You know, these mercenary fellas, intel fellas, they've been killed. You know, the fellas who, after manhandled the Patriot missiles and the atoms, instead, then they just get blown up with those things, launchers. Honestly, good shout that, Simon. And then Johan, thanks lads, I've been busy. Has a few meetings in London, signed a what? So not allowed to talk about it. There's spies everywhere. Yes. Then Trump can say, I brought it. This is what he's saying now. Have you noticed? He's still, look, every time he goes on that social thing, you know, and he says, or even on, you know, talking on the TV in a news thing, and he said, this war would never have happened if I would have been in. Well, why didn't he just walk out as soon as, on the first day he became president, why didn't he just say, that's it, not my war. It was Joe Biden's war. He started all this, which he did, by the way. I'm out of it. And I'm bringing every soldier, every American soldier from Europe. I don't want to be in this NATO thing, but NATO is America. NATO is American, albeit that they have some dope like Mark Rutte as the head of NATO, a failed politician, by the way, from Belgium. They're all failed. These people in power in the EU, they're all failures. Every one of them, they're Kaya Kallas. She said, what did she say yesterday? It's I'm paraphrasing, but you'll get me meaning. She said it's a waste of time because he's not given any concessions, Putin. Forgetting that the biggest concession is that he wants to talk. He's negotiating. That's the biggest concession because Putin only had to say, soz off the lorries. and just carry on what he's doing. That's Carlyle, an absolute lunatic. And don't forget what her dad, or the granddad, SS officer, von der Leyen, Ursula, same Nazi party. Mertz's dad, Chancellor of Germany, SS. You can't make this up. You cannot make this up. And Carlyle is the chief diplomat. There's no diplomacy whatsoever in her body. Nothing. There's absolutely nothing in her body to make her, like a fine diplomat. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Mertz is just a warhawk, as you know, when he speaks. Even Georgia Maloney, she was rolling out. She was like that when he was talking. She sat there, open that sub form. Well, it's a waste of time talking to Trump because he's talking to these neocons. The neocons of Lindsey Graham. Does anybody ever remember when he first became president? He actually said about Lindsey Graham, he said, I want people in South Carolina or North Carolina, anyway, whatever it was, where he's senator. He said, I hope people vote him out the next time, 2026 next year. He said, that's what he said. Does anybody ever remember that? And it's only the last few months, you know what I mean? He said it. He's only been president since January. And there he is, buddy with him. I hate that, buddy. And Toscana, Tamara, and young great call. Come on, mate. I'll get up there. Don't forget to hit the like, lads and yo. I've got to talk about this country and the shocking thing that's about it. I can't believe what's going on. I don't watch honestly, I don't. And I was watching YouTube yesterday or the day before. And a lad was arrested because he shouted, I like bacon. And there's, I don't know whether it was today or yesterday, got some people were holding up, the flag, the Union Jack. And there was people, shall I say, just people. And I'll have to say, not of this country, was tearing it down. And a fight ensued. Is that right or wrong? When my son was cabin crew on the airlines, there was a hotel in Chicago, says Toscana. And the crew would ring in sick as it was too haunted, and they never got any rest. Paddy the Burger. Again, I haven't seen you for a while, Paddy. Great to see you. Evening, young Frank. See that? See that, young Frank? That's what I like. Thank you, Paddy. And Bella says, "Oh, Franco, don't say that. I'll miss listening to." I've had to get something done though, and Jason can. It's very rare Jason can get to me because where my home is, Jason. You might as well say Jason on an Elon Musk rocket up to the moon and back because Jason's so busy working himself. I wish my eye was all right, you know. This one here. I've got to get this done, actually. It keeps dropping. On my eyelid. It's not lazy or nothing. I don't know what's wrong with it. Blimey, falling to bits. And the red bird sounds, Frank. It's your voice that's funny. Franco, through my TV, I agree with Christopher. It's better. I think it's the amplifier. But you're coming through okay. It just needs an adjustment. Oh, go away. There's something I don't like touching things, you know. I've got two amplifiers, right? I've got one there. You can't see. And I've got one right in front of me. And it's little, and it's dead awkward to get it. And if I touch you, I might go off altogether. Good point, though. Good point, actually. I haven't a clue. Like there's no buttons on it. I'd love to show you it, but it's only a little thing. It's only about that big. Like that. And I've got one there. I can't bloody move it. I can't even drag it over to you. And that's just, let's see. Volume, tone. I wonder if that's got something to tone. Let's see. I don't know what I've done there, whether it's tone or what, I just don't know. I haven't a clue. You know, you twiddle a knob and that's it with me. I tell you what, I've always been scared of things. I always remember a brand new university. Well, I was only a kid. I was about 8 or 9. And the university opens its doors. And me and my little mate runs down, you know, I'm walking around and I seen this thing. And I was like a numbers thing. I was just pressing it, you know, these numbers are coming up, pressing another number, and it was made up. And all of a sudden, I pressed a number and nothing happened. Then I pressed another one, never happened. Then I hit this thing, nothing happened. And this little boy, you know, was terrified. I said, I've broke it. And I knew that it was brand new. And I always remember this fella coming in. And he must have been an undergraduate, but to me, he was a big man, big giant. And I went, hello. And he said, you're okay. You've gone pale, you're okay. Yeah. I said, I want to go home now. So I went off just to get out of it. And that frightened me. That's why I never play around with things. Well, thanks for that, Simon. I can hear you. You're okay, Franco, says Bella. Thank you. Thank you, Bella. Frank, the mic might be too close and the software volume may be too high. The sound is better than it was yesterday. Don't worry too much about it, says Krista. but it's always been there, and it's been all right. And Simon says, also you were tired, so that might be a factor. Yeah, all of a sudden I was drained. That was yesterday, you know. But now I'm in the wide awake club, and I'm afraid that if I go to bed, I won't sleep. I know that. And I once there, I was trying to get someone mentioned Bushmills, get some Bushmills. It's good. So when I go shopping with friends, I was looking, I was looking for Bushmills, you know, only half a bottle or whatever you get. And never got any. They never had any in, because even Francine was looking. They had other stuff, you know. But I'll try and get some Bushmills. I suppose it will work. I wonder if ordinary scotches work. I was in Liverpool last week, Frank says. I said, do you know what? This is amazing. Why didn't you come and see me? And had the best Italian coffee, pastries, cannot. I've got to show you this. No, got to show you. And Bella, and Toscana, got to show you. Bear with me. And you can see this. Cannoli. Cannoli. Fantastic. I mean, you can't make these things up. Pastries and cannoli I've ever had in a cafe on the corner of Williamson. Yeah, they're proper Italian lads. Proper Italian lads. Felt like I was on holiday. Oh, that's great. Why did you come and see me? Oh, blimey. I think people are afraid to come and see me, you know. Because I say to them, if you're living in Liverpool, come and see me. I know the French fella and his Italian wife, they were up here yesterday. And that's who brought me that. Lovely Daniela. Cannoli. I had one last night. And as Mark says, honestly, if you're in Liverpool, you know, doing a bit of shopping, go into that little shop on the corner, Williamson Square, and I'll get some cannoli. And Barry said, it's no good going to the pharmacist, Frank. They won't be able to fix the sound. It's brightened me up, because I've never had depressed before. I never get depressed, but I have been lately, over there, this bloody insomnia thing. The red bird. Frank, if you go, we go. Please don't go. But, if the sound's okay, because I know Jason, I know Jason one way or the other would fix it. But I don't like coming over, like the sound. Because when I watched it last night, no one told me to or anything. No one mentioned it, and I put it on. Because I'll tell you why I put it on. With the new camera, to see how it looked. I'm not being, don't honestly. Because there was a reason, you see. I just saw something there. Oh, it's okay. I only wanted to see how the new camera was because I paid a hefty sum for it, 4K one, as they said. I know what a 4K is. So I just wanted to say it, but the sound was terrible. I was saying, I wondered if people could understand it. And I told Jason today, so he said, we'll have to try and sort it, but I know Jason is very busy. He's always busy. And Simon. Tusk, first black president who did F-all for the good black people. That's why Trump tapped into it in 2016 and 24. The Democrats, like Labour in this country, take the working classes for granted. That's a good point, though. But he's done the same, hasn't he? With this MAGA, make America great again. That was a load of bollocks, that, I'm afraid. But when I mentioned, like when I was a lot younger, and I said these people, all American presidents want to police the world. But I think it's gone beyond that. I really do. I think, with all these regime changes, I think they want to make the world one world. And do you remember when Trump, now, we can't dismiss this off, it's all gone now. We can't brush it under the carpet as though it never happened, and it did. When he said, I want Canada to be our 51st state. I'm bringing you into the, right? And also about Greenland as well. And with me saying years ago that they want to police the world, I think they want to say, America, you're American now. I'm not saying today, but when the regime changes everywhere and where everyone, where all these bases are, I forget how many bases there are in Colombia, American bases in Colombia alone. And there's a hell of a lot. And the percentage of drugs from Colombia going into America has skyrocketed. What does that tell you? And don't forget that drugs going into America, it's a black economy. It was just like the black economy during the Depression, the 20s. Breweries were open. They were open. But they were going into little garages and, you know, getting these people, say like me, for example, I was making some beer, going in and smashing it in a garage. As though, look what we're doing. And we always had cameras there. During the 20s of these cops, you know, bashing up barrels as though they're doing the job. But these were open. Speakeasy could have stopped them like that. Could have stopped them like that. It's what you call a black economy. And Toscana's laughing at what Barry's. Look even him. Blind. That is Toscana and Myra. Simon, I've got to go on to the serious stuff. Ironically, Obama gets a peace prize. He approved more than 26,000 bombs on 7 countries: Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya, Pakistan, Somalia, Syria, and Yemen. In 2016 alone, the blood on his, it's incredible. The blood on his hands. And he gets a peace prize. I just can't understand that. Okay, here's a question. Do you think that the way it is now, you know, the Nobel Peace Prize, and Nobel, was it Alfred Nobel? He got he names it after him, Nobel, and he's the fellow who invented dynamite. Dynamite, you can't make it up, can you? But you think now it's corrupt. And what's the UN doing? The United Nations. You've only got to veto a thing, and that's it, nothing gets carried through. And what are they saying? It's all right, them saying, we think it's wrong, you know, what's going on in Gaza. But did you not? Did you not? They've only got to send in troops, the UN, United Nations, into Israel, just say, yeah, okay, that's it now. But they can't, because all the Western countries are complicit in Gaza. They're all complicit. And America, obviously. Good shout, that, Simon. Good shout. I felt sorry for when it happened. Excuse me. I thought this fucking kicked off again. This fucking thing. I'm sorry to swear, but it's so annoying. I get it here. You know what I'm in Oslo? Being in here. Now I could have blamed this behind me, couldn't I? Something to do with that. But it happens even when I'm doing anything else, everything else, whether it's football or history or whatever. And the IBR says, liberating the oil again on behalf of Trump's small hat wearing masters. Yeah. Liberating, that's a cracking comment. Liberating the oil. They put sanctions on them so they couldn't sell it, you know. I was aware of that. It was like Yemen years ago. If there would have been oil there, they would have been well in there now. Why haven't they gone into North Korea? One of the axes of evil. Because they've got nuclear weapons. And the first two targets are South Korea and Guam, where the islands is just overrun, saturated with American troops. And now they want Venezuela. See, no one says anything. I haven't heard any countries coming out and saying you can't do that. It's just regime changes everywhere. And they thought that they could take on Russia. For regime change, getting Putin up. No chance. No chance. Just take no notice of him anymore. It's not my war, it's Biden's every time he says it. Little does he know that people are saying, no, it's not, it's your war, mate. It's your war now. Pazzi says, I'm a mile behind the start of the show. What's the thrust of discussion? It's just everything, Pazzi. It's just everything. I asked the very first question, you know, with this Donald Trump, I said, does he deserve, you know, would you nominate him for the Nobel Peace Prize? Does he deserve a Nobel Peace Prize? That's it. And Simon says, Franco Trump's saying today he might have to leave Putin and Zelensky to sort it out, describing them like oil and vinegar. Well, you know who the vinegar is, don't you? The vinegar's Zelensky. Then Lavrov comes out saying Putin ready anytime. Yeah, but what Putin's actually said as well, Simon, is that Putin's already stated he won't sign anything because he's not a legitimate leader. And it's in the Ukrainian constitution as well. All because then he called martial law. People never voted him in. And yet, if he has an election tomorrow, he'd be out. Because people are fed up with him. Where's the profit in peace, though, mate? Well, the peace, I'd like to live in peace. Look, as I was growing up, we had a Korean War. Fighting the Chinese, by the way. In Korea. Fighting the Chinese. Anyway, then, you know, then we had the Suez crisis. This is in the 50s, by the way. And I was just a little mad kid running around, doing nothing. Then in the 60s, I started to recognize what was going on in Vietnam. And I'm saying, well, why are they there? Why is America there? I'm good at geography. I really am. I'm very good at it. Or I used to be. And I said, well, what are they doing there? And I was fighting communism. That's it. So, but it's like, here's how I put it. Do you remember getting a piece of string like that? So, do you see that's like, that's it. Or that's, where was it? No, that's America. And that's the Middle Earth, the middle, the Far East, Indochina. I said, so why have America crossed oceans to get to here? To fight what? It's not on their shores. Then I go back, like again, when I was a young kid in '63, when Kennedy was killed, and I thought, why have they killed him, peace-loving man? Simply because of the Cuba crisis and Nikita Khrushchev, because he said we don't want any wars. He was a man of peace, I'll turn him in. No money, Paddy, for all these wonderful Raytheon and all these other firms, companies that make bombs and planes and things. No money for that. You've only got to look at the American Congress people who are there being given lots and lots. I'm not talking millions, I'm not talking like 10,000 quid or whatever, $10,000. You've only got to look here today. And all the lobbying going on. The likes of Starmer, I was looking at a list today, the amount of money that was given to him. Yvette Cooper, Reeves, Lammy. Think about Lammy, please. Jeez. God, blimey. Yeah. These are thick people. Thick. You get Trump saying, I know nothing. He's been told by Putin what has happened. Why they're there in Ukraine? Because what he was fed and what he believed by the likes of his intel. And there's Tulsi Gabbard there, she's told him, but it's not penetrating. And he's got the likes of Lindsey Graham saying, I hate them Russians, let's go and bomb them, let's give them more sanctions, let's put boots on the ground in Ukraine. Put any boots. Every weapon that's been sent over by America to Ukraine, and they've also had well over $350 billion. Think about that. Besides the billions sent by the EU, and he's sending over these wonderful weapons. Softlands was boasting about them. We've got the best weapons, and no, you haven't, mate. It's been proved you haven't. Proved Russia has, because they're blowing up everything that goes into Ukraine. Everything. This is a game changer. Remember the game changer, the Abrams and the Atoms and the Patriot missile, everything. Oh yeah, these are game changers. Blown up, every one of them. We sent our tanks in, didn't we? And Wallace was remember that, Jimmy? And he said to the Ukrainians, just keep them back and then hit them when they're needed. Hit them hard. What happens? Blown up. Our tanks. Our impenetrable tanks. Blown up. It's a joke. It's really a joke. And that's just to throw that's just to remove a president. of a country, a sovereign state, a country, because they want the resources. Because Russia has so many resources, it's incredible. And there's Zelensky now, only yesterday, bombing the Hungarians' oil pipeline. So what's that all about? And Hungary say, well, we won't, we don't want to get brought into it. But I think Obama has to do something because there's an election next year in Hungary. And if the people, the people will be going, hang on, he's doing that. We're being bombed here. Our electricity's and our gas is going sky high because he's going to do nothing. What Ukraine are doing. Now, what you've got to look at also is Ukraine are a non-European city, don't belong to the EU, they're not a member. Also, they're not NATO. So, what's NATO done about a non-NATO country bombing a NATO country? Destroying a pipeline, an energy pipeline, deliberately. They've done it 3 times now. Where are the people? Nothing, zilch. Absolutely nothing's been said. It's all corrupt. It's all corrupt. Everything. Simon says, no Starmer talking about sending troops. We can't secure our own borders. He wants to send battleships to the Black Sea. Can't stop dinghies. But that's deliberate. They're doing it deliberate to bring people in. Look, I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's been a big plan in the making from the 90s and so by the Americans to destabilize the Middle East so that they could destabilize Europe. And it's happened. They've destabilized the Middle East because what they said, get all the migrants going. And there's only one place that they can go, and that's Europe, to destabilize Europe. And look what's happening today in Europe. There's fights on the streets here. Not here in Liverpool, but all over the country. You've got I've said this before, and I think it's wrong. I think it's wrong for any sort of group of people, no matter what countries they come from, and wanting a certain law. Just imagine a group of people from here going over to America, example, the regime change country, the terrorist country. They are terrorists, to be honest, America. And saying, we want a British law here. We want British law here. Do you think it'll be allowed? No, it wouldn't. Or any other country. But what have you got? Sharia law courts here. That's saying we don't want your British law. When you're in a country, if whatever country you're in, you've got to abide by their laws. When you go to, you know, oil workers go to Qatar, they go to Saudi, they go everywhere, all the oil producing countries, but they've got to abide by their law. You can't just say, well, I want British law here, so I'm going to go out for a bevy. The most ridiculous thing is being arrested for shouting like bacon, that fella. They're wanting people, if you've got a dog, that you can't take it out for a walk. This is a dog walking nation. I think most of Europe is. But they don't want dogs on the streets and roads. So what's that telling you? And you can't stare at people. That's the other thing. You can't stare at people. Think about it. Simon. Franco, when that von der Leyen was was using brush handles because they had no money for wet Putin. But she's been voted the worst of the worst defense minister, German defense minister in the entire history of Germany. She's a failed politician. It's like Mark Rutte. Mark Rutte is a failed politician in Belgium. He was leader in Belgium, as I say, he was thick. Useless. Got shut up. And carries on by saying Putin must have been laughing at these EU puppets this week. A joke, yeah. Lavrov. Did you hear him to that woman? Did you hear? What was it? It was I forget what it was. Sorry. Franco, sorry for another message. We saw we have a pot to pay in, but where the money for appeals against closing hotels, can't fly a flag and can't call them illegal. They are irregular. Makes you sick. And Toscana. Franco, the sound isn't that punchy. No male. Thank you. And oh yeah, Pac on Chiao. Give the microphone a bang. Hey Pac, I has an email of this thing. And I couldn't do it, unfortunately. And he wanted me to give like a sort of speech. And it's going out throughout Europe and the whole of China about what happened to the Chinese in the Second World War here in Liverpool. I don't know whether it was today or what it wanted me to do. No chance today. Do you imagine me going outside all over China, talking about our brothers and sisters of Chinese origin? I can't give them. No, if I give the microwave, if I give the microphone a bang, I might go over there. Got monitor there. This thing here, everything's connected. Everything. So we give that a bang. Could topple over and drag. Even the lights what I've got there got a light over there. Frank, leave the tech alone. That's out. That's out. That's out, Peggy. Frank, don't you be touching anything electrical in front of you, especially. Do not touch, otherwise. Wonderful. That was a joke, Frank. I know. Franco, we should be able to fly the flag. Some groups are put on lampposts, and the councils are taking them down. And Simon, all main supermarkets should sell it, Franco, the Bushmills or a brandy. Don't like brandy. I'll get a Bushmills, honestly. But I go to Sainsbury's, you see, that's the nearest one to me. And I push the trolley around. I use it as a zimmer. Anyway, I was looking for it, and I even said to Francine, I said, I can't find any. Honestly, couldn't. Bushmills. It's going to get not a big bottle, because it's just going to get either half a bottle or a quarter of a bottle to see if it's help me. And I don't want to take any tablets. I hate taking tablets. Bella. Oh, Franco, I'm coming around for a coffee. Anytime, Bella. Honestly. I've invited everyone. Do you know what then? You know the couple I had yesterday, the French and the Italian. He sent me a cracking message. He said, thank you for your hospitality, your kindness, your generosity. They were really, pulling it up. I said, okay. Our Francine came down to see them. And the granddaughter. They were made up. Looks like you're getting ready for your trip to Sicilia. There's a couple of Italian delis in Liverpool. Yeah, I think, I don't know where they must have got these in Williamson Square, because they're staying around there in town. They actually walked up to me, please. And I was just going in to get a shower. And my phone went, and I went, hello. She said, hello, this is Daniela. We're outside. I went, I said, I'm going up for a shower. Because I have to buzz them in, you see. So anyway, I had my shower, buzzed them in. Runs out, we went there. I was ringing them as well. They wouldn't answer the phone. And you know what, the phone, and I forgot to mention it. I said, why didn't you answer me on the phone? I rang you back. But they went for a walk. And I'm outside looking around for them. So my neighbour's daughter, she's wandering around in the slippers. Legs cracked up. That cannoli looks delicious. Don't drop it on your keyboard, Franco, says Yo. No, I won't. I'm going to have one later. Just get espresso or cappuccino, or even espresso corretto. That was my dad's speciality. I always have an espresso when I go to Italy. Every morning, first thing. But what I drink here is cappuccino. If I have a coffee, I've got a coffee machine. A good, very good friend of mine, actually. Lovely man, great red, being here, to go to the match. We went out and he comes on my show now, and he sent me this coffee thing. Must have been very expensive. With coffee beans. I can't use it. What a clue. I said to Francine one day, I said, Francine, can you? She said, oh, wait, Dad. So I've got it on top of my fridge freezer. And the coffee beans are in the cupboard. Open an Italian coffee shop and call it Franco, says they have there. Do you know what genuine this? I was on with one of the girls, one of the relatives, and she was great at making clothes. I said, well, if you open a shop or whatever, I just said, call it Calucci. And they'll say, oh, that's Italian. Because Italian, it draws the people. She was good, never came of it. The council enforcing homeless tents off the city centre. Are they getting put up in the Hilton or the Novotel? Will they? Sorry, I'm swearing, because I'm so angry. Our people treated like yes. Look, they're a prayer. Look, how long have I been waiting for physio to give me some kind of quality of life? For me to walk a bit better. I didn't go on a cruise because my mate, he was here yesterday, the fellow who plays John Lennon. He goes on the cruises, he plays John Lennon. Anyway, I said, I'm thinking of going on a cruise. He said, no. He said, you wouldn't be able to manage it. I said, okay. That was last year, I asked him. So I wanted to go this year. Magnesium is supposed to be good for insomnia, says Pat Hunchin. Is that right, Pat? Magnesium. I've really got to do something, honestly. I'm going to go right down, people. Espressos and one of them cakes. Yeah. Says Bella. How about you? To Tosca, one of those cakes. Palone. Trump is always doing Luciferian symbology. You're right there. And says things like a golden age, says the IBR, and you're absolutely right. And I'll tell you who else always used to say that in little hand gestures was W. Bush. W. The Redbird. Is it Birmingham Council that's banned British and flag? Yeah, plus Palestine flag is okay. May have got wrong council. No, it's Birmingham. But it's ever happened. When our people are going to stand up for that? See, we don't mind, the Palestinian flag. Yeah, that's not like talking. Stopping this genocide against, a race of people. It's okay saying it. We've got to say it. We've got to stop it. It's genocide, no matter how you look at it. It's ethnic cleansing, no matter how you look at it. Do you ever remember Milosevic during those troubles in the 80s, and he was sent to The Hague. He's dead now, Milosevic. But he was sent to The Hague. Is anyone going to be sent to The Hague here? In America? No. Do you ever remember My Lai in Vietnam? And that captain or major, whatever he was, shot all those people dead. Kill them all. Does anything happen to him? No. The My Lai massacre? No. And the new world where the rule of law replaces the rule of jungle, says Bush. Yeah, that was 1990, wasn't it? And this is what he said, didn't he? And his son, W, on a stage to loads of people saying, we have to bring in the new world order. Order. Umbrella. Yeah, right there, birds. It's disgusting taking down our flag. Yes. Oh, what that name there? Wow. That's Simon. This is the Simon. Posting a tweet calling for peace will get you banged up for discrediting the special military operation in Russia. No, it wouldn't. No, the people in Russia want peace. The people in Russia want peace. And they want it done properly. I disagree with you there. Totally. That wouldn't get you banged up. At all. So I think you know where this fella comes from. Oh, hey. These hotel demos starting to bite, and after what happened this week, they have legal people behind them, says Simon, using the government's own law to challenge these hotels as legally access should be given to Joe Public. Well, what about that hotelier who said, I've got to have these people up because of the people, from our own country who come to see, and have a holiday where I am. Obviously, he's down the south coast somewhere. He said, and I can't put them up. He said, they've been coming for years. He said, I can't put them up. He said, well, too bad. They're going to stay there, ends up. I'm going to ask you another question here. If you were a refugee, an asylum seeker, or an illegal immigrant, and you had to fill in a paper, like a paper, you had to fill in a paper, right, with questions on. And one of the questions was, what's your circumstances to want residence in the UK? What are your circumstances? Do you understand the question? Why are you leaving that country, in other words, to get it? With their application form, would people tell lies on it? Would they tell lies? Would they exaggerate? Would they embellish the truth? Let me know. Better, if we ever go to war, millions will fight for the other side, but we will be called names if we say anything. Yep. It's so scarlet about it. Espresso for me as well, with Cantucci biscuits. It's killing me not to be able to go to Italy this year. Well, I can't go. And I wanted to go, as you know, but I am going next year. But, you know, bear me out on this. Francine said to me, listen, Dad, Sophia wants to go to Verona. So I said, okay. See, it's for, you know, not just for me, but it's for Sophia as well. So I'm going, you know, for our birthdays, because we fall in the same, you know. Okay, Sophia, myself, and Francine. So I'm taking them to, definitely taking them to Lido di Jesolo, because what we've got on the doorstep is Venezia, right? Largo Garda and Verona, and that's where I'll be taking them. You know, she wants to see them, so I'm going to do that. But, you know, later on, a couple of months later, I'm going to Sicily, I'm going to Palermo. I've never been to Palermo, never been to Sicilia. Right mean to say, says Bella. And there's our friend again. Trump will never, capital caps, do anything, capital caps, to displease his buddy. Do you mean Lindsey Graham? That buddy. Yo, Vitaly Slonov, why has the Green Goblin suspended elections in Ukraine? Gustavo, his name, he can read. Brilliant, that. Yoan, our interpreter. Vitaly Slonov. Yeah, why has he? Hey, why did he call martial law when you know he could have had an election, because he would have been top. He would never have been president. But I tell you what, you've got the Azovs there, haven't you? The Azovs, eh? Like that, with the big Z, Zelensky, behind his head. Toscana. Sana. With my views and comments, I'm surprised the coppers haven't been around to my house yet. Seven says, Toscana, you're speaking the truth, stating the facts. You're not saying anything that isn't true. The mainstream media, as they say, just go with the flow. Look at the BBC, want to keep the TV, the license. ITV and Sky are run by Blairites. The Americano was my favourite. I don't mind latte, actually. Bella says, that's a good coffee. Simon, look at the justice system. That woman got 31 months after being told, don't go for a jury option, but the Labour councillor comes out with comments and takes the jury option and gets off. The law is an ass. And the Toscana have been listening to the police radio. Make sure you lock your doors, bro. And Steve, Zelensky going to Washington with the Seven Dwarfs was just a pantomime and theatre. It was a panto. And it was brilliant what you see. How can I say this? He got up, didn't he, and walked out and did a 40-minute call and left them all sitting there. How embarrassing was that for them, for the leaders of Europe? Not one of them has got any credibility. The only credibility Wallard, who I've just dismissed now, was Orban of Hungary, Viktor Orban. But what did he do? He invited over Bibi Netanyahu for 4 days into Hungary. Why didn't he arrest him? So, in my estimation, it went right through the floor with Orban, unfortunately. And Pax says, I might give the mic a tap. I'm not touching it because someone said, it sounds a bit better. So I won't touch it. Lee Argent. Hello, Miney. Hey, Lee. Red Bears, I've got electric gates, a German Shepherd dog, and an Italian temper. No buggers getting in. The only problem there with me is that dogs just don't like me. My ex, for some reason, honestly, got me a dog for my birthday. A dog. I said, what have you got that for? She said, it looked nice. Because she had a friend who bred dogs. And this was a giant, beautiful pup. And it was a Doberman Pinscher. Just didn't like me. It wouldn't let me up the stairs. If, she went upstairs, it wouldn't let me up. Fucking shocking. Wouldn't let me in. I was lashing down one day. I was given some night school that evening as well, just got in from work. And I was given some night school as well, so I needed to get in, and have a cup of tea and whatever. And let me fucking in, the porch. Because we used to leave the door open into the kitchen. And just left all the doors, and I used to just roam around. Wouldn't let me in. It's me. So good. I had to sit in the car till she came home. Ghislaine Maxwell moved from high security prison to open prison. Trump says he did not know about it. Of course he knew. She's on her way home anyway. But why is she the only one? She was the scapegoat. She's the scapegoat. And caffeine and coffee could keep you awake. Drink coffee in the morning, says Pat Unter. I only drink tea. But what I have to drink a lot of is water too. But I have flavoured water. I said, would that be all right? I said, yeah. Your answer, Barry. Apparently, she's allowed a leave permit for work so she can spend 8 hours a day outside of that correctional facility. She's on her way. She's on her way. Telling you now. And I like that. Yeah, Johan, I can believe it. So much corruption. An eye for an eye only ends up making the whole world blind. Was that Mark Twain who said that, Bella? So if I wanted to get around the system, I'd say I got family here. I am persecuted in my country for being a Christian. In reality, Franco, how many safe countries pass before they get to yes? I only said that to somebody yesterday. That's what I'm saying, you know. Would you tell a lie? Would you exaggerate the truth on why you want to come to this country? Why you want citizenship? Why you want... yet they're leaving countries that are not at war. Think about it. Who's not at war? Italy are not at war. France is not at war. Germany's not at war. Belgium's not at war. Are they? Well, the likes of Hungary and Poland, they won't allow them in. Slovakia, no, you're not getting in here. So you can't leave them. Spain, they're saying, no, yeah, go up on your bike. Portugal is saying. So why are they leaving, the countries I mentioned to get to here? Ireland's kicking off. I'm talking about the ordinary Irish, the Swedes. I don't know about the Finns and the Norges, the Norwegians. They're kicking off because of the crime rate went from there. I wonder why. I'm not saying. Come to your own conclusion on that. And you can easily claim political persecution in the home country. I doubt immigration officers understand the nuances of geopolitics. I don't think anyone understands geopolitics. I really don't. And they don't understand. You mentioned hegemony. They don't. What's that? I think it's a fucking head jog. They think it's an head jog. Do you know when I do that? I get itches, itches. And they're terrible. The itches. So, but I've no issue for genuine. No one has. This is the problem. No one has. But unfortunately, you do get people going, you're a racist because... No. Behave. But I've no issue for genuine, in caps, asylum seekers or migrants who can benefit the UK. If you come illegally and ask why are you wanting to come here when you got no money? So from account says, so Raxel from account says. Well, I've got news for you. I think it cost about €4,000 to get him one of those dinghies. Voila. About no money. Johan. I studied Russian language in college, Frank. Knew it were coming on. You're the man. You are the man. Oh, fucking love it, honestly, God. G2 Media. Yo, Frank. Hello, G2 Media. How are you? How are you, my friend? I haven't seen you. And there's the best archivist I've ever met in my life. Coming on. Good to see you there, G2E Media. I'll just call you G from that one, if you're staying with us. Thanks. David Owens. Do what the social club compares to do. Blow into the mic and say 1, 2, 1, 2. It works. That's sweet. Does it? You're kidding me, you, David. You're kidding. 1, 2. Yeah, you say 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. What was I watching? I was watching something. I was watching Rigsby the other night, and he's trying to cough for Miss Jones, and he's sitting on the couch with her. And someone said, blow in her ear, you know, they like the blows in the ear. And you see him, and he's talking to her like that. And she's just looking that way. He's sitting there, and he's going, you know, to blow. Well, she turns, you know, and he goes, it's not so much. It's just as his expressions. He's so funny. When you read all about this, how can Reeves say in October, I've a 50, what's that, VM? Black hole. Oh, yeah, 50, is it 50 billion or million? Black hole, I'm going to have to put taxes up. How can she say that with a straight face, with all that money we are throwing asunder? The thing is, we've promised, we've signed a contract and everything to give Zelensky and Ukraine. Zelensky won't be there for that long. 5 billion every year. There are 5.2 million, could be gone up by now, children below the poverty line in this country. And he's given to the most corrupt country on the planet £5 billion every single year. Does that make sense? To a corrupt country, he's not really a leader. The West have made the puppet a leader. That's all he is. How can this fellow buy an island in the Caribbean, buy this unbelievable villa and pay 14 million for a bunker? Do you think he'd be able to leave his bunker? Simon says to the media, "Is that you, George, been watching your videos?" Independent journalist says the Redbird have been to France many times asking illegal immigrants why they want to come to the UK. Most say we get more money, free housing and free stuff over here. It's sickening. So they're just saying it. So who's telling them about it? Must be the people here. We already have 3.3 million overseas people living on benefits. So how many more can we take? Says the IBR. $3.3 million. But how many, I'm not being funny, how many haven't registered as illegals and they've been here years? They're working in like restaurants and places like that, like people who they know, like family or whatever, family businesses. IBR says that it's way more than that. Government give us the lowest figures to fool the brainwashed sheeple. No one mentions how many nighttime flights full of illegals coming in, which has been happening for years. That's true, that. This fella's great, David. In Tangle, York, British patriots were raising Union and English flags in the street. I understand 4 cars and van turns up with Pakistani heritage men who were armed with machetes and other weapons. I've seen the footage of that. I've also read they fought back bravely with bricks and fists, winning the day. So is this the reason we have military age invaders? That's a very good point. I actually seen that footage. Someone, filmed it. And someone was filmed. I don't know whether it was a cafe or something. But I don't know where it was. I just seen it. It was on Facebook, actually. And you see 2 fellas sitting in a car. They get out. And all of a sudden, these people get attacked by these certain people. Trying to rob the car and they're fighting. But, they're really fighting. Little gang of these other people. And anyway, they start to run away and whatever. And when the lad goes to his car and opens the door, he knows that something's missing. And he goes running after them. That's shocking. It's shocking. There are 16 watching, but only 6 likes, says the IBR. But they watch on another thing as well, so there's more. The other night I had nearly 600 people viewing. 600. Franco, what are you expecting Labour are planning to fill this 50 billion black hole with? I worry for our pensioners, sick and disabled this winter. I see the number of people dying of the cold going sky high. Do you know what? There's no answer to that, Simon. Honestly. Honestly. There's no answer to it. And it's just getting worse. It's getting worse. I was sitting outside one day by the bin shed, and a lady who lives above me, she came to me, she said, "Hey, Frank, how are you?" I said, "I'm good." She said, "Okay." And I said, "Where have you been?" She said, "I know this lady goes to the city centre every week to do her shopping." And she said, "I'm afraid of going in there now." She said, "That'll be the last time today." And that's, so why is she afraid to go into town? Why? She told me, like, but I'm not saying it on here. And yet, she went in for years. Always went into Marks and Spencer's, by the way. There's a little shop in there. Johan, Franco, do you have any options on Corbyn's new policy? There's a caveat with him. Honestly, there's a caveat with Corbyn and his policies. You know, a lot of people follow him. Unbelievable. And even going back to when he was fighting Starmer, or fighting for the Labour Party against Theresa May. Sorry about this. Theresa May. He didn't look a statesman. You know the way we look at that Jelani fella, Al Jelani, who has a $10 million bounty on his head. But the Americans have taken away that, and that is another 40 to put us on Maduro's head of Venezuela. Right? And they dressed him up in a suit and a tie, done his beard and everything. Now, I said at the time, it doesn't look statesman. He's not catching the eye. His policies might catch the eye, but his appearance doesn't. And someone said to me, "Well, appearances are nothing, Cardi." I said, "Yeah, appearances are." So when I was working, I always wore a suit and a tie. Always. These are head politicians. These are leaders of a major party. These are leaders of, millions of working class people. It was like Michael Foot that time. Michael Foot was an incredible man. Michael Foot. And you just see him. Never forget two instances. One, there was a general election. And you see him sitting at a little table, and underneath the table, he has a thing, like a little banner saying, "Vote Labour." And he's sitting there in a donkey jacket, a green donkey jacket. Then he was at the cenotaph, and you see them all standing there, all perfect. At the cenotaph, the wreath and respect. and he's standing with his donkey jacket on. The others were immaculately dressed. And that's the way people perceive people. His policies, the caveat is he wants all the illegals to be registered as British citizens. That's the caveat for me. And as David said, isn't it strange how they're all young men on the boat? Not only that, do you ever remember Chowdhury? The hate speeches, and they wouldn't lock him up until they said, you better lock this fella up, you better do it. And anyway, do you ever remember him saying, we'll be looking at number 10 with the Islamic flag flying on top of it. Never forget that, either. So will I get into trouble for saying it? Because it's true what he said. It's on film, it's on everything. So is there an agenda? That's all I'm saying. Is the agenda with these people? Simon, the fifth richest country in the world, and we can't protect the poor, the sick, and the ex-veterans. Do you think our politicians are bothered how much they put their heating up? Just goes on their expenses. Well, you've seen the expenses of all these people, all these politicians. It's incredible what they've got. Like that Labour plan to implement multiple taxes on property, like a drive tax, garden tax, and plan to access our bank accounts. That's just to the bank account lot. That's just to say, oh, they can afford, they don't need a pension. They don't need a state pension. That's shocking. And that is the plan, by the way. Oh, they don't need eating allowance. Oh, they don't need this. They don't need that. Look at the food prices. I go shopping, and it's ridiculous. Look at the food prices, the price of petrol, water rates, council tax going up. Oh. No one else accountable. The governments aren't bothered as they are getting the tax, but the excuse of COVID and Ukraine wearing thin. But what's Ukraine ever done for us? What's they ever done for us? Ukraine. They were full of Nazis in the Second World War. We were fighting them. Full of Nazis. And they're still there today. Under the banner of Azov. To the air. Show you. You see that properly? I can't fucking see it. Oh, for fuck's sake. You can't see the yammer. Oh, I'm sorry about that. You can just about see it now. See? See the swastika? It's the Ukraine army. And we were fighting them in the Second World War. Mind you, we've got our wonderful new head of MI6 coming to the fore very soon. She's a woman. And her granddad, was known as the Butcher of Ukraine. Why are we at war with them? The Soviets stopped it. Well, the rest killed them all, but they didn't. Did they? And the Simons of the IB agree, but they are both political and economically illiterate. We just give money to whoever wants it, but they live on a, what's that? On a 92.05 JSA a week, because they won't. How often does your MP show their face? I don't vote, so I haven't got an MP anymore. Buonanotte, Franco, a lovely chat, sweet dreams to you all, says Bella Vitali. Thank you, Bella. Franco, thank you for a wonderful night once again. Thank you, Bella. Really grazie. Buonanotte. Buonanotte. As the Russians say, says Johan, night, neat, neat. We have enough money. No, we don't. We have enough to worry about already, let alone an invasion of illegals. That fella said what you said, or whatever it says, you'd be arrested and put in jail. Remember, if you demonstrate. Do you think that fella was right, Johan? He wasn't Russian, he was a Ukrainian, that fella, living here. Wonder what happened to him. I wonder why he wasn't beaten up and dragged and put in a van and sent to the front, like they're doing today. Young lads, even 14-year-olds, they're getting, aren't they, you know? And also fellas with hair like mine, throwing them in the backs of vans. Not only that, but now they're recruiting them 60 and over. The IBR. I agree 100%, and I never see my councillor or MP, and all the councillors work from home now, doing nothing. It's McDonzo. Hey, mate. Just as Ozzy White in the Blobs. Is that you? Is that you, Albie? In the Blob shop for the first time. Very nice. Not sure what it is, but tastes a bit like vermin. Your little cartoony there looks like Albie. It's not though, is it? Albie Donnelly, our saxophonist from Supercharged. The image might not be clear, but the Nazism is clearly visible. Thank you. Thank you, Yo. I'm glad you know, I just couldn't get it right, properly. Can you see that one? Yeah, there they are. And do you know what that is? That's celebrating Bandera's birthday. That was taken from Bandera's birthday. And what did the West say? Oh no, there's no There's no Nazis in. Oh yeah. Okay then. We believe you. Fuck. Recent polls in Ukraine show that over 70% of the war stopped and have no desire to join NATO. But once you start, banning Russian language, Russian culture, Russian. Do you ever remember the first puppet, Poroshenko? And he said, didn't he? He sat there and he went, our children. No, the children in Donbass will be hiding in the cellars while our children will be sitting at desks learning the history. Does anybody ever remember that? Because I do. Buonanotte, the Bella d'Italia, says Toscano. Franco, I was going to mention about the German guy. Yeah, Carl Bernard Bartels, yeah, sad story. I bring it up on your history show next week. Bring it up. Bring it up now. He was actually arrested and sent to the Alamo in the internment camp. He became, believe it or not, the first German to be repatriated. I met his family, by the way, in 2012 at the celebrations of 100 years of the birds, and his family came over. I like to meet them. Yeah, okay, it's nice. It was great, actually. Lovely people, and shall I tell you now, to the contrary of what people say, write about and everything, people can make it up. Tell you now, he got repatriated. He thought he was mad. Now, he gets to the Isle of Man, like they just put him there. Now he's a German sculptor, right? And he used to go over to these soldiers, the guards. And they were only young fellas, the guards. He used to go, and he used to say, when the war is over, I will take my birds back home, schweins, and go away. Walk away. Every day he said that. When the war is over, I will take my birds back home, schweins. So anyway, they used to say, he's tough, this fella. He keeps fucking saying about taking his birds back home. What birds? Where? What's he going on about? No one knew about the live birds. That was put on 2 years previous in the live building. Anyway, he didn't know what he was on about. And he got repatriated back home. First, the very first, alien, I have to call them aliens, because that's what they was known as. Went back to Germany. How about that? Funny thing is, the guilty party always projects their crimes onto their foes. Must be weird for them that nobody buys the propaganda anymore. Well, at least the ones with a functioning brain. Brilliant. David Owens was on before, and you want to see what he comes up with. Incredible. Like research. One of the best researchers I've known. Really. So I said to me, well, what's wrong with our kids? They are not like me. She said, no, they take after their father. Mick says, I'm not the guy you're thinking of. I'm the one who found you by accident earlier this week. I organised a public meeting that you spoke about 50. Go away. Why didn't you let me know then? Why didn't you let me know? You know, it's it was an absolute disgrace. Our lads went on strike for the fabric of life. The fabric of life. We had no, I'm still waiting now because of all this nonsense. You know, I'm not a priority anymore, and I need the quality of life for what's happened to me. And yet, I'm not the priority. I've been waiting for 2 fucking years. 2 years, and I'm deteriorating every day. And it's sad. And these lads were the same. For the fabric of life. And they just wanted to feed the families because they were there working for a pittance. And what did Churchill do when they went on strike? He sent 2 frigates up to the Mersey. 2 frigates. And, you know, could train its guns on the city. He was with the government that sent 50,000 armed troops, armoured troops, by the way, to Liverpool. 50,000. And our police says, hang on a minute, you know, we can't just go. This strike will be over because the government said, yeah, listen, you better get in there and sort them. Sorry about this. Fucking hell, they used to sit. And they said, we can't just go in. And we can't. So they said, can you? Okay. Because governments never ever forget. So they sent for 6,000 police from Birmingham and Leeds. And every one of them had to be like 6 foot or over if you want to be up. And just imagine wearing those helmets as well, fucking up here. You look like giants. To arrest the people. The Riot Act is going to be read out. 2 lads were shot dead by troops. Where I live now, it's only up the road. Hopwood Street. One of them was shot dead. When did I mention it? I forget when I mentioned it. But imagine now, Churchill, horrible man. Can I say he's horrible without me getting into trouble? I give up. Did they get anything? Nah, not really. Not really. Why all these police and the army? This is the fucking army. This is our country. And they sent an army of 50,000 armoured troops. Because no one knew. Anyone around, say it's happening right now, we're on strike. We didn't know that there'd be a fucking war in a couple of years. There was a war imminent, and they said, Churchill and the rest of them, if we don't stop this now, it could spread anarchy. Because they wanted to go to war, like they've always wanted to go to fucking wars. Do you know that we're the only country in the fucking world who declares war on Germany? Do you know that? Oh, America has taken over. But regime changes and covert operations. Oh, fuck. We got nothing out of that. So thanks for that, Mick. Thank you. A tomcat hijacked a plane, stuck a pistol in the pilot's lips and demanded to take me to the Canaries. Right, guys. Franco. Great show. Get some rest. Say Sarah. Thank you, Simon. Really glad. Thank you. And your answer. Frank, you told me last week on the TC show to remind you about too late to do it. Promise you the next history show. I'll have the history show on the Tuesday. I'll do it on the Tuesday. Is that okay? Because I know that I forgot all about it. I should have done it tonight. Too late now. That was an absolute disgrace, the paperclip. Operation Paperclip. Shocking. And this is why we have all troubles today. People won't believe it. People just don't believe it. So, nice German accent. Nice German accent, my friend Frank. Thank you. Paperclip is a must. I've read about it over the years. I'll do it honestly, I'll do it on Tuesday. Because we play on Monday. I'll be doing a watch along. So I'll have a pre-match and a post-match. So I won't have to do the post-match on the Tuesday. So I'll do about the paperclip operation. All right? Operation Paperclip. The Red Bird. Another banger show, Frank. Thank you. And your talk about 1911 is on you. I didn't know that. I uploaded it. The meeting was at the Blackie. Oh, the Blackie go away. Was it? Go away. Great building now. Beautiful building, the Blackie. Chinatown. Love it. And I remember being up there once. I gave a talk. And I just said, you know what? I said, just imagine this being with the rest of the neoclassical buildings. A couple of people were like, no way, this is ours. I said, I know it's ours. But they got to know. I said, that didn't mean it like, I said, but just imagine the St. George's Hall, the Sessions House, and the library, and the Walker, and the museum. No, it's all right here. I don't know what it is. Took it the wrong way. Anyway. Okay, one more. People always say, you're a comedian, tell us a joke. They don't say, you're an MP, tell us a lot. Yeah, that's a good one. Pak Ong-chan. There is an event on Tuesday, the 26th, at the... I know, and you know what? I was invited to that. But I should have given a talk today. So I won't be invited. Echoes of Peace, some prominent historians. Yeah, okay. But they don't fucking come from here, and if they do, they know fuck all. I'm sorry about that. Sorry about that, Pat. some prominence. Looking at the echo. Thank you, Frank and Legends in the chat. Another brilliant show. Thank you for all your kind messages. I will definitely show your messages of love and prayers to Mike. Oh, that's lovely. Have a great weekend, Joe, says Johan. Give them our regards, everyone. So all the people on the show, give them my regards. Thank you, Johan. And on that beautiful message, I'll say good night to my lovely Italian princesses. Yes, princesses. Bella and Toscana. Mille grazie. Mille grazie. Buonanotte. Buonanotte. And to the rest of you, thank you for joining me, keeping me company. If Myra's still with us, thank you, Myra. I really appreciate you. Isn't that lovely? See, I knew that you should always. Simon says, will you stop talking about the war? Basil Fawlty repeated, he did not start it. The German guest, you did start it. You invaded Poland, Basil. Don't mention the war. That's... Take care, Johan. Hope your relative is on the mend, says Sam. It's his granddad, yeah. I'm glad there's no Germans looking at. I'd be like Basil Fawlty. My favourite Dad's Army sketch was the German captain taking everywhere. Brilliant. Don't tell him, Pike. He was brilliant. Philip Maddock, his name was. You know the fella. Welsh accent. And what is your name? Don't tell him, Pike. And when he was asking for fish and chips, don't make my fish and chips soggy. Don't make fish and chips soggy. You can't make these up, can you? Lovely. Oh, that's lovely, though. Johan. That's lovely. Very lovely. And that's the Simon. It's what Johan said, an IBR. That's lovely. And package. Night, Frank. Have a good bank holiday. Weekend. Yes. Yeah, I don't think I'll be able to go out tomorrow with my daughter and granddaughter. It's killing me. It really is to do that. Thank you, Pac. Really grazie. Toscana. Grazie, Franco and chatters, for another great hit. Johan, all the best to your granddad. Lovely. They are a nation of automatons, led a lunatic. He looks like Charlie Chaplin, Captain Man. Brilliant. That's one of my favourite shows. I'll tell you what else as well. Ever Decreasing Circles. I used to love that. And one of the lads said to me, that's a middle class series, that. I said, it's that funny. No, it's not. That's Rigsby. And on that note, I just want to say thanks for keeping me company. You're really beautiful people. And I'm not just saying that, by the way, because you only got to look at what you've been saying to each other. The respect you show to each other. the respect you give to this show. I don't know about Charlie Chaplin is from the current film. Pity we couldn't take John Lennon up like him, PM. Give peace a chance. Tell you what, that's why he was done in. I was going to talk about him tonight, but we got carried away as usual. And thank you, Joanne, for correcting that. That was brilliant, that. Speak Russian. I knew it would come in handy one day. And there's had to come in handy tonight on here. Oh, absolutely brilliant. You're a good one. And Johan, thank you, Toscana. Enough about my grams. I'd let Franco end the show. Yes, thank you. Neat. Brilliant. And I suppose I said that wrong, didn't I? No. Neat. Neat. And don't watch all those silly Cold War propaganda garbage. Even, you're getting films and gangster films, and it's all about the Russian mafia in America. Oh, fuck off. Sorry to swear, ladies. I hope the ladies have gone. Me yet. Not yet. Me yet. Not yet. Eight. Neat. Eight. I'll still get it wrong. Thank you anyway, Johan. Thanks, everybody. Love yous all. I might see you tomorrow. If I'm not doing this show tomorrow morning, it's because I'm knackered. You know, the film and TV review. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much. Love to you all. Thank you. Oh, come on. Being honest may not get you a lot of friends, but it always gets you the right one. And that's everyone on here. That's a quote to end with on here. Brilliant, Simon. Thank you. Good night. Buonanotte.